You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's
Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell is sponsored by Equity Resource, a development, construction, and investment firm that is transforming properties throughout the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. Our mission is to develop properties at a high level of value, a low risk of investment, while providing impeccable service to our customers. When you're ready to sell, renovate, or invest in a property, choose Equity Resource. Call us today at 202-621-6632 or visit our website, equityresource.net.
Good morning and welcome to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. Now for today's show, here's attorney Ethel Mitchell.
Good morning. Welcome. I'm your host, attorney Ethel Mitchell. Welcome to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. Welcome and Happy New Year once again to all who are listening live throughout the world on Radio 1 station WOL 1450 AM, WOLDCnews.com, and on lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com. We have a great program for you today. We have a real expert, Mr. Jeffery Hunter, who's going to tell us a lot about not just the healthcare law, but also the tax consequences that every American taxpayer must deal with as respect to that law. Right now, though, I want to remind you that this program is brought to you by my law office, Wills and Trusts, LLC, where I prepare wills, trusts, power of attorneys, advance medical directives. So if you or anyone you know needs a will or a trust or help in administering an estate, give me a call at 202-772-1988. That's 202-772-1988. And also by Equity Resources, which, as you know, will purchase your home or your property in the DMV area. You can contact them at 202-621-6632. Law is powerful. It can help you or it can hurt you. It impacts everything you do. What you don't know can hurt you, and what you do know can really empower you. Each week, Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell aims to empower you by bringing you professionals who know the law to enlighten you. All of our programs are archived on my website, lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com. So if you missed a program, a lot of people called me wanting to get more information about the statistics that I gave last week. Go to lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com, and all of the programs are archived there. My webmaster, Earl Hooks, puts them up within 72 hours of their airing. We want you to be part of the conversation, so give us a call at 1-800-450-7876. That's 1-800-450-7876. My executive producer, Stacy Royster, is standing by throughout the program to pass along your comments or your questions, and also to receive your tweets at LawTalkEM. I must remind you, however, that what you hear on this program is for information purposes only. No attorney-client relationship is established by anything that's said on the program. Each person's circumstances are different, so you must seek individual counsel for any situation for which you need legal advice. So let's get started. When President Obama first proposed and then got passed the health care law, he revolutionized health care for Americans. Mr. Jeffery Hunter, who is our guest, is uniquely qualified to talk to us about this law and about the tax implications of it. Mr. Hunter is the founder and principal of J.A. Hunter and Company, LLC, a financial management consulting firm located in Annandale, Virginia. His practice provides accounting, tax, and financial consulting services to individuals, small businesses, and nonprofit organizations. Mr. Hunter earned a bachelor's degree in economics and French from Dartmouth College. He completed graduate studies at the State University of New York at Buffalo, where he earned the Master's of Business Administration degree, and at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, where he earned a Master's in Public Health. Also, he is licensed as a certified public accountant in Maryland and has earned the designation of certified financial planner. He is a member of the Maryland Society of Accounting and Tax Professionals and the National Association of Tax Practitioners. He is also a member of Quad A, which is the Association of African American Financial Advisors. So if you want him to come and speak to your church or organization about this subject, or if you want other financial advisors to come in and speak to your organizations, please contact the Association of African American Financial Advisors. Mr. Hunter can be reached at 1-800-577-6037 or 703-764-0742. His email is jahunter@jahunterco.com. So, Mr. Hunter, first of all, let me ask you just a very simple, basic question that I want to make real clear to my audience. Is Obamacare and the Affordable Health Care Act the same law?
Good morning, Ethel.
Good morning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's an easy question. Yes. And essentially, the formal name of the act is Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, which is known as Obamacare. But yes, they are one and the same.
Okay. So in spite of all the people saying I have the Affordable Care Act, but I don't have Obamacare, in fact, it's exactly the same thing. There's only one act, in other words.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to just go through very quickly some of the points that you made in this fantastic presentation that I heard you give at Mount Calvary Baptist Church last year, at the end of the year, just about the act itself. And then I want you to educate my listening audience about the tax implications that a lot of people are not aware of that affects every American taxpayer, if you don't mind. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things, well, of the many, many things that the features that this act did was it held insurance companies accountable by reviewing rate increases to make sure that you get more value for your premium dollars. It made it illegal for health insurance companies to arbitrarily cancel your health insurance just because you get sick. And see, I remember when companies used to do that. So this law stopped them from doing it. It protects your choice of doctors. It ends lifetime and yearly dollar limits on coverage of essential health benefits. It guarantees the right to appeal a health plan condition. After 2014, health plans can no longer turn you down or charge you more just because you are sick or you have a health condition. They also cannot charge women more than men, which was a big one. If you have health care under this law, you are, and correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, I'm just trying to tell my listening audience some of the features of the law. You are entitled to free blood pressure and cholesterol tests, mammograms, colonoscopies, vaccines, preventative services for women. It provides free preventative care. It means that if you have young adults under the age of 26, the parents can cover them. And one of the features that I want you to clearly show to the audience is that if you're a parent and you have children up to the age of 26, they can be covered under your insurance policy, and that is huge. Under all of the health benefits, what's considered essential, which means needs to be covered, are prescription drugs, services and devices to help you recover if you're injured or have a disability or chronic condition, lab tests, preventative services, including counseling, screening, and vaccines to keep you healthy and to manage a chronic disease, pediatric services for our children, which includes dental care and vision care for children. All of these things are considered essential health benefits that are covered under medical benefit plans now. It also includes trips to the emergency room, treatment in the hospital for inpatient care, care before and after your baby is born, and care for mental health and substance abuse disorder services, which includes behavioral health treatment, counseling, and psychotherapy. So this law revolutionized insurance, health insurance, as we know it. And this is what people get when they sign up with the marketplace healthcare services and so forth like that.
One caveat I'd like to add here, Ethel.
Yes.
There are some plans that were actually grandfathered that did not have to have all those things included.
Okay.
Certainly, all the new plans that come out from this point on will have to cover the essential health benefits.
Okay.
Because of the magnitude of some of the changes that were going to happen in the insurance industry, there were a lot of plans that were grandfathered and not required to have some of those things. So
Okay.
that everybody would have to check and make sure that
If they're
whatever
keeping the plan.
if they're keeping the plan, right.
But if they get a new plan, it
Right.
has to have all that
It has
stuff
to
in
have
it.
all that, right.
Okay, so now when we come back, we have to take a break. When we come back, I'm going to have you talk and tell us about how this impacts every taxpayer in the United States.
Gladly.
Okay, thank you.
1450 WOL, where information is power.
Hey America, we are your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet.
Enroll, we say. We want you to be okay. Enroll, we say. Take care, people, for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
Enroll!
So listen to me, a talking pug, you see. If you get health insurance, preventive care is now free.
So sweet.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options. That's getcoveredamerica.org.
And take care, people!
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
Confessions of a Potentially Perfect Parent, brought to you by adoptuskids.org.
Okay, here goes. I know more about cooking dinner for a party of 12 than I do about packing a lunch for a 12-year-old. I know kids like things like PB&J, pigs in a blanket. Oh, and fish sticks. They do love fish sticks. Fillets I get, but sticks? What part of the fish does the stick come from? I know I can read a cookbook that'll tell me how to make a red wine reduction, but where are the cookbooks that can teach me how to cut the crusts off bologna sandwiches? Oh, maybe we can compromise on mac and cheese. Can you make that with brie? Everybody likes brie, right?
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who would love to push your food around their plate. Call 1-888-200-4005 or visit adoptuskids.org for more information. This message brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt Us Kids, and the Ad Council.
Dear John, I was hoping it wouldn't come to this, but you've left me no choice. I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is really serious, and lately you seem to really not care. I've been there for you since day one, and I know you think I'm gonna keep ticking, but no, my friend, I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to the good times, when we were more active and ate more healthy foods, and you checked on me every once in a while? Is that too much to ask? I don't want to leave, but unless you stop ignoring me, what else am I supposed to do? Remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Doing the minimum to control your high blood pressure isn't doing enough. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get your blood pressure to a healthy range before it's too late. Find out how at heart.org/blood pressure. Check, change, control. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
News Talk 1450 WOLAM, where information is power.
Welcome back. You're listening to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. I'm your host, Attorney Ethel Mitchell, and we've been talking about the Obamacare, the act known as Obamacare. I have as my guest Mr. Jeffrey Hunter, who is really an expert in this field. And although I gave all of the various wonderful revolutionary benefits of this law, it does come with some requirements that every taxpayer needs to know. So, Jeffrey, can you tell us about those requirements as well, please?
Sure. Although Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act was actually enacted in 2010, 2014 was the first year where all Americans are going to be subject to the new concept of individual responsibility in terms of health care. So this year, every American, particularly anybody who's going to file a tax return, is going to be responsible to account to the federal government as to whether or not they have what is called minimum essential coverage. So at this point, we have 3 different types of taxpayers: those who have minimum essential coverage, those who don't have minimum essential coverage, and those who have an exemption granted by the IRS to not have the minimum essential coverage.
Okay, so since the vast majority of United States taxpayers are going to be required to have health coverage, tell us what kind of coverage is it, and how does this show up on your income tax? I mean, what is it?
Okay, most people already have what is considered to be minimum essential coverage. If you have a job and you have health insurance at your job, that health insurance qualifies as minimum essential coverage.
Okay.
If you are on most Medicaid plans, Medicare, TRICARE, any other government sponsored plans are also considered minimum essential coverage.
So let's repeat that, because I don't want people freaking out saying, "Oh God, I got to go get insurance," when already you have insurance. So if you have Medicare, you have the essential coverage.
Yes, Medicare Part A or Medicare Part C.
Medicare Part A or C.
Right.
Okay. So if you're over 65 and you have those plans, you don't have to worry about this.
You don't have to worry. You still have to report, but you do have minimum essential coverage.
Okay. And if you work and you have health insurance at your job, you're covered.
Yes.
Okay. How do you report this? We'll come back to if you don't, but how is this going to show up on your income tax returns for millions of American taxpayers?
Okay, on this year's filing for 2014, which for most people the filing date is going to be April 15th, line 61 on your 1040 is a new question, and it asks, do you have minimum essential coverage?
Okay.
For if you have determined that you have minimum essential coverage, then all you have to do is check the box that says that you do, and that's all you're going to have to do for this year.
Oh, that's great. Okay, now, but let's make something clear. It is not just, as I understand it, you have coverage, but you have to have coverage for your children.
That is correct.
Okay, I want my listeners to understand that. Everybody in the United States, basically, we're trying to get covered unless you're exempt. But it's going to be important that people who have children also be able to certify that those children are covered by some kind of insurance.
If you have children who are your dependents, and you're going to claim them as dependents on your tax return, then you are also verifying that they have the coverage.
Okay, that's important. I want people to understand that. Okay, so now, how is there you say you just check the box on line 61.
That's if you have minimum essential coverage. And
okay.
You're basically self-certifying that you have that coverage.
Okay. If you have is there any other form that will come to you from either your job, or if you've gotten Medicare, coverage in the marketplace and so on like that verifies this?
For 2014, there's a new form called Form 1095A, which will come to you if you have enrolled in health insurance through the marketplace, either the federal marketplace or the state marketplace.
Okay.
1095A is basically a verification that you have a certain amount of coverage, and that will be your verification and validation. Okay. That's for 2014. For the 2015 tax year, we're going to have more forms from employers, from the government, that also basically provide the same information, but those forms are not required this year.
Okay. So talk to us a little bit about the marketplace statement and the marketplace coverage. Who are those people, and if you don't mind, tell us, how do you qualify for those kinds of of services. Because I've been surprised to learn, for example, one of my best friends is a minister, and he's single. His wife died, but he has 2 sons who are both in college, and he was able to go into the marketplace, what we call these marketplace exchanges, and get insurance for himself and for both of his sons who are under 26, but they're in college. Can you tell us a little bit about, because I want to encourage people who don't have insurance to look, to at least shop. Where do you go to find out these things? Because that's important.
Well, basically, the marketplace was set up to offer alternatives to those persons who previously had difficulty getting health insurance on the open market. So they couldn't necessarily go to an insurance company and this is and get a plan. There's traditionally there's been most of the health insurance in this country has been delivered through an employer-sponsored basis, whereas you have a job and you're working and the employer sponsors the health care coverage for you. Those who are self-employed or those who don't necessarily work for a company and are not on Medicare or Medicaid can go to the individual market. The individual market, the underwriting was always much more stringent, and
I see.
Where a lot of the things that ACA has tried to address is the difficulty that many people had in the past in getting insurance through the individual market.
I see. So is there an income limit for going into the individual the marketplace, or is it open to anybody?
At this point, anybody can go to the marketplace and look for coverage. And it's a question of where do you get the best deal, because if you can get it on the outside or get it on the inside, I haven't seen a lot of studies at this point to say what's the best deal, but yes, you can go on there.
So there's nothing. So you can make $100,000 a year and go on the marketplace and see if the coverage you can get is cheaper,
right,
and as good, if not better, than you get on an individual plan.
Yes.
And you can work for somebody who may offer insurance, but you can still go to the marketplace and see if you can get something better.
Right.
Oh, that's great to know.
Now there are some advantages and some premium tax credits that are available to those who fall within certain income ranges, which is 100% of the federal poverty limit to 400%. And they actually may be the people who enroll in insurance through the marketplace may able to get some help paying for the insurance through these credits. But that is defined through their income. And those credits are available. One of the things that's happened is it's been determined that affordable coverage for a family is basically 8% of the household income. So the credit is based upon the notion that nobody really should have to pay more than 8% of their household income per year for health insurance.
Great.
So the credit is designed to make health insurance affordable by bringing it down to that level, so you don't pay more than 8% of household income.
That's another great feature that I didn't even know about. So that's an income tax credit.
Right.
Right.
So that's a credit against your income tax. And it basically would help you pay for your insurance.
That is great. That is just great. Now, tell me something. Where do you go specifically to find out, and how long do you have to go to find out if you might be able to get insurance through this marketplace?
Right now, basically all things kind of start and end at healthcare.gov, and that's the general national website where you can get started. We're in open season now. Open season runs about 4 months. Exact dates, I think, was October 15th to February 15th, where everybody can get in. People who wanted to start coverage for this year had to be in, I think, December 15th. But they can still go in and look for coverage at this point.
So you have until February 15th to get insurance under this marketplace plan. Okay, I want everybody to realize that and to know they need to go to healthcare.gov and look and see and compare what you're paying for your health insurance right now with what you might be able to get in the marketplace. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Does it matter, or does it vary by state, or is this a federal marketplace?
Well, the law basically provided for three types of exchanges. One would be a federally run exchange. There would be a state federal exchange and a state-only exchange. Certain states, such as Maryland, decided to develop their own exchange. Virginia decided to go with the federal exchange.
I see.
But basically, the mechanisms that you're going to go through to get insurance are comparable. Every state is a different marketplace, and there are different plans available in different spots, and the marketplaces take advantage of those and accommodate those differences.
I see. And are there live people that you can talk to? I mean, I have a lot of listeners who are not computer savvy, and maybe they can get started, or their children can help them get started looking for things. But is there a place or where they can, maybe on the same website, where they are phone number that they can call to get help with doing this?
Again, the best place to start on that is healthcare.gov, and there's some other alternatives to doing everything online. There's organizations called Navigators, which are nonprofit organizations that can help people get enrolled in insurance. Even individual health insurance agents can advise people and help them get enrolled in care.
Okay, so individual health insurance agents can help people to get enrolled in care. You say there are some nonprofit organizations?
Right, called Navigators, right.
And where do you find out about them?
Again, all things start
okay.
at healthcare.gov.
Okay.
And you can drill down and find out all the details there.
Okay, so healthcare.gov. Okay. Now, I know that there were some other things about healthcare that you wanted my listeners to know about in terms of healthcare and your income tax. Talk to us about that. There have been some other changes when it comes to what the minimum coverage is, what you have to do in terms of reporting. There's some different limits, both for high-income taxpayers and for older taxpayers that are a little bit different this year. Can you talk to us about those things?
Sure. The most important thing that I want to impart to your listeners is the fact that this year everybody is accountable for having health insurance. So as we spoke earlier, if you have health coverage already, you probably don't have to worry, and all you have to do is check off the box on line 61 that says you have health insurance. If you believe that you qualify for an exemption, then there are additional forms that you have to fill out on your tax return to basically prove that you are qualified for that exemption. There's a number of exemptions. One of the biggest ones is you don't make enough money to file a return, so then you're automatically exempted from having health insurance. Another one is if health insurance is still unaffordable and you can't find a plan in your area that you can afford. Again, you can't find a plan that's cheaper than 8% of your household income, you will be exempted. But in order to get the exemption, you have to fill out this new form called 8965, which basically tells the IRS why you believe you don't need to have health insurance.
I see.
Okay, and then if you qualify for an exemption, and the computations and the paperwork's a little extensive, but once you do that, then you don't have to have the health insurance.
Wow.
Now, the third category of persons are those people who don't have health insurance and don't qualify for an exemption. And then we get into what's called the individual shared responsibility payment. Okay, that is, if you don't have health insurance, you don't have an exemption, then you are required to pay some additional money to the IRS with your tax return because you don't have that coverage.
Oh.
And that amount is equal to, it's a 95, the greater of $95 or 1% of your adjusted gross income minus your filing threshold, which is a little complicated concept at this point, but basically there's a computation. You have to go in and figure out whether, how many people that should be covered that aren't, and pay a little bit of money for each one of them on your income tax return.
We're listening to Jeffrey Hunter. His company is J.A. Hunter and Company, LLC. If you want more information about this, because I think it's very important that everybody know this, please give him a call at 703-764-0742. That's 703-764-0742 or 1-800-577-6037. His website is www.jahunterco.com. So please give him a call, because all of us who are taxpayers are going to be subject to this, are subject to this requirement. If you have any questions, this is the time to call us. Call WOL, call-in number at 1-800-450-7876. That's 1-800-450-7876. We've got Mr. Hunter here. He's clearly an expert in this field, and there are a lot of people that need to know this information. Jeffrey, thank you so much for the specifics of that. But we're going to go to a break right now, and then when we come back, we'll continue with this. Thank you.
1450 WOL, where information is power.
Welcome back to the Dog Show. Up next, we have Satchmo. Satchmo is a member of the Shelter Pet Group.
That's right, a group known especially for their couch-snuggling, ball-chasing, face-licking, tail-wagging, backyard-hanging, and, of course, companionship.
And what breed would you say Satchmo is?
I'd have to go with maybe a lavish terrier-hound chihuahua-looking kind mix.
Tremendous dog.
I'd also like to point out Satchmo's coloring, a white, gray, brown, black brindle, simply marvelous.
You know, it's such a treat to watch a dog like this.
Now, let's see him in action.
Look how he makes eye contact with his person.
That's actually known as the treat stare.
How intuitive. And now he appears to be excitedly turning in circles.
Ah, the happy dance, so common with this group.
And finally, the loving face lick.
It's great how he just gets in there and, well, licks.
Fantastic. But really, the best way to know an amazing shelter pet like Satchmo is to meet one.
Visit theshelterpetproject.org today. Adopt.
Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Who might you save?
Your mother, your father, your husband, uncle, aunt, son.
Learn FAST, F-A-S-T, the sudden signs of a stroke, and you could save
your friend, your best friend, teacher, boss, coach.
F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911, F-A-S-T, face, arm, speech, time. That's F, face drooping, A, arm weakness, S, speech difficulty, T, time to call 911. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment, and that can make a remarkable difference in the recovery of
your neighbor, the waiter, a fellow shopper, a total stranger, grandmother, grandfather.
So learn FAST, the sudden signs of a stroke, then pass it on, because you never know who might save you.
Your wife, your colleague, teammate, mother.
Spot a stroke fast. Visit strokeassociation.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association and the Ad Council.
Hey, there's my son. You've been in your room all morning.
Hey, Dad.
Matt, what's wrong with your voice?
There is nothing wrong with my voice.
Oh, well, it's just sort of.
I have been playing my video games and electronic games for so many hours.
Uh-huh. Well, it sounds like it might be time for you to take a break, or...
Hello, Dad.
Susan?
I have been watching TV and text messaging all morning. Yay, electronics. Yay, yay, yay.
Guys, I think it's about time to get in the car and take a little trip. Maybe see some trees, some green things.
What are these green things you speak of?
This weekend, unplug. Take your family to the forest. There's nothing in the world like experiencing nature firsthand. Trees, paths, bluebirds, streams. Getting closer to nature can get you closer to your family. To find the forest nearest you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
News Talk 1450 WOL AM, where information is power.
Welcome back. You are listening to Law Talk with Ethel Mitchell. I am your host, Attorney Ethel Mitchell. We are getting some very, very important information from Mr. Jeffrey Hunter of J.A. Hunter and Company, LLC. He is educating my audience on requirements now for income tax filings that every American taxpayer has to file. He just finished telling us about the exemptions for those filings. Apparently there are other things that are important in terms of deductions for medical care as well. And I'm going to repeat once more. His website is jahunterco.com, and you can reach him at 703-764-0742. Our number here, if you have questions, is 1-800-450-7876. So, Jeffrey, tell us what else in terms of the floor for Schedule A medical expenses. There's been a change in that deduction as well. Can you tell us what that's about? Because that's going to impact a lot of people.
Yes, it will. Well, previously, before the enactment of Obamacare, those people who itemized their medical deductions on Schedule A of their Form 1040 were able to deduct the excess of what their actual medical expenses were over 7.5% of their adjusted gross income. So that means that if you have $100,000 of gross income, your 7.5% of that would be $7,500, and you have medical expenses of $10,000, you'd be able to deduct $2,500 of those expenses off on your tax.
Right.
That floor, through the passage of ACA, has been raised to 10%, which now means that you have to have a lot more expenses in order to get $1 of medical expense itemized deduction. That particular provision impacts all of your listeners under 65 as we speak, but for those over 65, that's been delayed a little bit for another couple of years. And as you said, particularly for those for senior citizens, that really can make a big difference in their taxes because, as we know, most senior citizens incur a higher degree of medical expenses than younger people, and that deduction is very important to a lot of senior citizens.
Yeah. So would you clarify for me, please? If you are over 65, do you still get the floor at 7.5%?
Yes. If you're over 65, it's still 7.5% for a couple more years.
Okay. But if you're under 65, it's 10%.
Right.
Okay, that's a big difference in terms of medical expenses for those who deduct on their income tax. Now, tell us what else is going on in terms of income taxes. Apparently, there are higher income taxes for people who are your high income people. Tell us about them, because quite a few of my listeners are high income people.
Well, the good news is that we have additional access to health care for millions of Americans.
Yes.
The bad news is we have to pay for it.
Yes.
And some of the mechanisms that have been developed to help pay for this additional coverage is going to be felt this year by taxpayers. We have two major new taxes that have been implemented, and people are going to be responsible for those this year. One is the additional Medicare tax on wages. So basically that's going to be 0.9% of wages in excess of $250,000 on a joint return, $125,000 on a married filing separate return, and $200,000 on a single or head of household return. So basically, if you fit into any one of those categories, you're going to be required to pay, which is basically an excise tax, to help pay for Medicare.
Okay. I don't have a problem with that. We got to take care of our people.
And then
there's something else.
There's another one.
Okay.
And that's for wage earners. And then if you have net investment income, there's also an additional tax.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so individuals are now subject to a tax of 3.8% of their net investment income, which is in excess of a threshold amount, which is from $200,000 as a single taxpayer to $250,000 married filing jointly. So that's an additional 3.8%.
Now, is that on your investment income?
Investment income.
Okay, so if you get more than $200,000 on your investment, that's when you pay the tax.
Exactly.
Oh, well, I don't feel too bad. I'm sorry, but if you can earn $200,000 on investment, for the audience, that means that you're not working for this. This is money that you have put into investments, which is a good thing to do, but you're earning more than $200,000 on your investments. To ask you to pay 3.8% so that the rest of the world can have insurance, I think is rather nice. I think that's an appropriate thing to do.
And then, of course, we've been talking about the individual provisions, most of which kicked in up until through 2014. Most of the employer provisions for small businesses were going to kick in this year.
What are they?
Well, basically, small businesses, those with less than 50 employees, those with less than 100 employees, have some additional benefits. There's a credit for small businesses with less than 50 full-time employees. They can get a credit on their taxes for providing health insurance to their employees.
Oh, so they get a tax credit if they do provide the health insurance. Oh, that's excellent.
And then...
are these refundable tax credits or non-refundable?
They are, I don't think they're refundable.
Okay.
They're, not on the business side anyway.
Okay.
And then small businesses are also going to be able to shop for insurance in what's called a small business health options program exchange. Okay,
what is that?
Separate and apart from the individual exchange, businesses will also be able to go to a marketplace and shop for insurance for the companies.
Oh, that's excellent.
And they will be able to compare rates, compare plans, and have some of the advantages that are afforded to individuals on the individual marketplaces.
And that's in effect now?
That's starting now.
Okay, so that's also at healthcare.gov?
Yes.
Okay, so to my small businesses who are listening out there, know that you can, as a business, go to healthcare.gov and shop for better rates on insurance for your employees. That's excellent. But does all this have to be done by February 15th?
On the business side, no. And I didn't memorize all the dates because I didn't think you were going to ask me
I'm sorry.
But again, you can look all this up on the website. And,
okay.
Healthcare.gov is just full of information for everybody. And just about anything you want, you can get started there.
Okay.
And in addition, folks can go to the IRS website and find a lot of information also.
Okay. So for individuals, all of my individual people out there, especially single people who have children who are in college, know that everybody, single or married, but know that you can go to healthcare.gov and you may be able to get insurance that's a lot cheaper than what you have right now. It is at the very least worth checking out and finding out. Compare it to what you have at your job. If you don't have anything at your job, especially if you are a small business person who, you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start your business now, and you may not be under any kind of health care, go there and look. If you have children who are in college, in high school, they need to have insurance. I think this is a really important set of information. And if you don't go, you may end up paying more income taxes. So if for any other reason you don't go, you may end up having to pay a whole lot of taxes that you might have been able to avoid. Now, in one of the articles that Stacy found for me on this issue, it was said that a lot of people who are not insured say they don't think they can afford it, or a lot of people who are not insured are Latino. Are there help, or is there help for people who are primarily Spanish-speaking people on this website or on the phone numbers that are available? Because I would like my Latino listeners to know that even if you do not speak Spanish. Speak English very well, but you are a taxpayer, okay? And you're subject to the same requirements of filing your taxes, and you're going to pay a penalty if you don't do this. Where can you get help?
The website has access to Spanish and English versions as well as other languages.
Okay.
There are, as I was saying before, there are community organizations that have been provided with funding to specifically help persons persons whose first language is not English.
Okay.
And I believe that you can also find some of that information on the healthcare.gov website.
Okay.
And so again, there are health insurance agents who also can sign people up, help people get enrolled in this insurance.
Excellent. So that if you
speak Spanish,
that speak French, there are a lot of different languages in this country. So if you know a health insurance agent, that they have been trained and they're supposed to know how to guide you in this process. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a special training for health insurance agents to basically help people enroll in the ACA coverage.
Okay. And February 15th is the deadline. Is that correct?
Well, that's the deadline for open enrollment. As with all things, there's exceptions, and if life circumstances change, there's you can get in at other times. But the basic open enrollment is through February 15th.
Okay, so if you're listening to this and you don't have insurance, if your children don't have insurance, please do something about it. This is really important stuff, because what is going to happen is if you don't do it, you're going to get penalized. And the whole idea is to make it so that everybody can go in and get not just emergency care, but also preventative care. As I understand the law, and correct me if I'm wrong, once you have the coverage, you can get mammograms, you can get colonoscopies, you can get care if you are pregnant, you can get care for your baby if you are, once they're born, you can get dental care and vision care for your children. You can get mental health assistance if you have mental health issues. You can even get substance abuse care as well, therapy and so forth like that, as well as the medicine for these kinds of things. So it's a revolutionary law. We have to take advantage of it, and we also need to be vigilant to make sure that the powers that be who didn't want this law don't strip it down, because they're already saying that they want to try and change the law. Some people are saying they want to, repeal the law. But it is helping. In another statistic that I had read, over 2.5 million people have signed up since October through the marketplaces. And we're trying to get it so that every American has health care insurance. Jeffrey, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience about this subject? Because you have been a wealth of information, and I want to encourage everyone to contact you if they have any questions about this, or they have, help. They need some help with this stuff.
I think it's, as always, the value of a show like this is you're educating your listening audience, and it is a time for all of us to be more informed about what's going on. This is a major change in how we've dealt with healthcare in this country, and as I was saying before, it does impact everybody from a tax standpoint. So the more you know about the law in your particular circumstances, the better. For instance, it really is important for everybody to really know whether or not they have minimum essential coverage. That's first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody has any questions as to whether they have that coverage, they should basically make sure that they contact their insurance company and find out if that coverage qualifies.
I have a question for you. If you're 18 years old, you're either in high school or you just got out of high school, and your mama or your daddy don't have in coverage for you, but you got enough of a job where you got to file an income tax return, okay? How you're working at McDonald's, or you're trying to, make a living and maybe trying to go to community college or something like that. How does that impact you? What can you do? Because there are a lot of young people. My program last year noted that there are 1.2 million black men in college right now. That's 500,000 more black men in college than there are in jail. And you never hear that, okay? But I want to speak directly to them. If your parents have not gotten insurance for you, can you go to healthcare.gov and get insurance for yourself?
Yes, you can.
You can?
Yes.
Okay. If you're a young girl with babies, you've got 2 or 3 babies, you don't have no insurance. Maybe you're a hairdresser, or you a nail tech, or you're trying to do a job that pays enough where you have to file taxes. Can you go to healthcare.gov and get insurance?
Yes, you can.
And that insurance will cover your babies as well.
Well, the one thing I would say, though, is there are a number of safety net programs that people should consider also, and
okay, what are they?
In terms of Medicaid and Children's Health Insurance Program. So particularly for folks with limited incomes, they should check to see if they qualify for those programs before they go to look at purchasing individual insurance.
Okay.
But the answer to your question is yes, they can go to the website and do that. Whether that's the best option for them at that point or not is subject to analysis. If you are a tax filer and you have to file taxes, you are going to have to deal with whether or not you have this minimal essential coverage.
Okay.
So if you're still claimed as a dependent on your parents' return, your parents have to deal with that issue. If you're filing independently and your parents aren't claiming you as a dependent, then you have to deal with it regardless of how old you are at that point.
Okay, because I have a lot of grandparents who listen to this program, grandmothers, grandfathers, uncles, aunts, and a whole bunch of people that I know are listening. So you try to make sure that your grandchildren who are adults, or those babies that you love so much, that they have insurance, and talk to your young people to make sure that they go and get insurance. This is critical. This is part of becoming an adult. Jeffrey, thank you so much. I'm going to give out your information one more time. That's J.A. Hunter and Company, LLC. You can reach him at 703-764-0742 or 1-800-577-6037. You can go to his website at jahunterco.com. Thank you so much for being on the program.
Quite welcome.
Remember, everyone, you can go to healthcare.gov to get all of this information. If you are listening, if you are a taxpayer, you've got to get health insurance. So make sure that you and your children are covered. That's really, really important. This is Attorney Ethel Mitchell. As I say to you all the time, make sure also that you have your will, your trust, your power of attorneys, your advanced medical directives. Give me a call at 202-772-1988. That's 202-772-1988. Those of you who wanted to hear more about the statistics from the program last week on Ethel's State of the Union, where we talked about how 1 out of every 10 households in Black America has an income of over $100,000. So many really positive things that you never hear about. That program is in my archives at lawtalkwithethelmitchell.com. So please go there. Tune in next week. We will be back, and we will have very, very important information for you. Thank you very much. On January 31st, by the way, I will have Attorney Donna Sachs, and she's going to talk to us about protecting your assets from being taken by nursing homes and so forth. So make sure that you tune in on January 31st. Have a good week, and I'll see you next week, or talk to you next week. Goodbye.